Hey, Quillen, to your right.
G'day.
Congratulations. When you're in that first round, and I think you landed a good shot early, and right back he comes and he cracks you, and it seemed to happen like a couple times in a row. You're going through your mind, okay, this is a little different than I thought before. Like it seemed like you guys were so evenly matched, and it was such a really good back and forth.
Yeah, he hit me with some, good shots, and yeah, this is the first time I've actually been, hit like that in an MMA fight. Like usually I get through pretty, unscathed. So it was actually a really great test for me, and I actually quite enjoyed getting into a bit of a slugfest, a bit of a back and forth action. It was actually quite fun.
Mentally, like, do you have to raise your game in the middle of the fight? Like, because I know you're confident walking in there, but then when you see what's coming back at you and you know, hey, this guy is a really good fighter, he's not just a scrub, do you have to kind of mentally raise your game as the fight's going on?
Yeah, I try to, when I'm in there, trying to look for, certain things and certain openings. I was in there, I felt a little bit too tense. Like I didn't feel quite myself in there. I did have to rely a lot on, a bit of grit and tenacity to get through and get my hand raised, which, I prefer not to. I'd rather just go in there and put on a really slick performance and get the guy out of there quick and easy. But, it is what it is in a sense.
When you look at the roster, obviously lightweight has historically been one of the great divisions. How do you see yourself growing into that division? Like, do you feel like you have big growth potential that, you can make a title run? How do you see yourself fitting in there?
Oh, yeah, I definitely see myself, making a title run in the near future. Just need a few warm-up, fights to really get things going, and then I know I'm right up there with the best of them in terms of skill. Just getting comfortable in the UFC octagon is the main thing to do at the moment.
When you say that, you're the top man on the regional scene. You're the big fish. Dana called somebody else a big fish in a small pond. Now you start at the bottom. You're the small fish in the big pond. How does that change the way you approach anything, if at all?
Doesn't change a thing, I don't think. I just go in there and, just another fight. It's always just another fight, another opponent to get through and get my hand raised at the end of the day.
And last thing for me, just how soon do you want to come back? I mean, I know you got scratched up a little bit tonight, but when do you think you'll be able to make your debut?
Late November or early December would be ideal for me. I definitely want to get at least one more before the end of the year. That was only my second fight of the year, and I ideally want to make 3 fights per year as a minimum.
When you think of that, when you think of your UFC debut, how do you picture that? Like, you've talked about a date, but what about a location or an opponent? Have you thought about that, and have you given yourself a chance to think about your official UFC debut?
In terms of location for like a debut, I don't really care, but I do know my dream, location to fight will be, in New York. That's there's a card coming up, so, if I could open up the card on that, that would be, a dream first fight.
What about just the fact that now you're a UFC fighter? Has that kind of sunk in yet? Have you thought about this moment? Did it live up to the way that you thought it would go?
To be honest, it's a bit surreal at the moment. I've always tried to picture myself here, but now there's, I'm actually here. I'm actually a UFC lightweight now. It's I don't even know how to react right now. It's it's going to take me a few days for it to actually really settle in.
Are you going to change your social media bios like immediately?
I'm going to have to. Quillen Southfield UFC now. It's going to have to be.
You mentioned after that you weren't super happy with your performance, and I'm just curious, for the people who haven't seen you, what should we expect from you? Because it was a great performance in my eyes. What would you have rather us seen?
I made a lot of mistakes. I tend to be a lot more slick with the things I threw. I did throw a few things that was nice and visually appealing, but in there I was just a bit too tense, and I mistimed a lot of things which could have been a lot better. And I know my next one I want to look a hell of a lot better and be far more impressive.
Do you think that those mistakes maybe happened because of the situation that you were in, the fact that it's Dana White Contender Series, a lot's on the line, or was it just that just happened this fight?
Yeah, maybe all of the above. I actually felt not real nervous going in, which is something different. Usually I'm, at the back shitting myself, but this time I was actually very, calm and collected. So, yeah, I think it was just, in the moment, it was just mistakes were made.
And last and most important question, who has the best mustache in the UFC?
Oh, it's got to be me now. Definitely me. Paul Felder, when he had his, was very good. I wish he still had it now, and I hope he brings it back.
Thank you.
Quillen, can you talk about August of 2023? Like you're set to fight on road to UFC. You get pulled the day of the fight. That was a showcase fight to get you possibly in the UFC. You had to wait a whole year. Like, what were how bummed were you, and how upset were you?
Yeah, I was, upset, but I knew my name was out there now. It was always going to be a plus, no matter what. And I knew leaving that, within 1 or 2 more fights, I'd get my opportunity, ideally on the Contender Series, and predicted it. 2 fights later, I'm now signed on to the Contender Series, and here we are now. I'm up here as a UFC lightweight.
Were you surprised he ate so many of those body shots that you were throwing at him?
Yeah, I landed some really good ones in the last round. I was hoping he'd go down, but he toughed it out and kept on the attack. But yeah, it was a good back and forth slugfest at some stages.
I mean, how awesome is it? Just you and Cody, both UFC fighters, within 4 weeks of each other.
Oh, it's crazy. All that. It would have been better if we could have both gotten on the exact same card and both get it at the same time. But I say he's beat me by 2 weeks, so I'm pissed off, man. I'm pissed off he beat me. Fuck.
And finally, your last name is hard to say, but you always say in interviews, people are gonna know my name and people are gonna remember your last name. Do you think you made a statement tonight?
I think I did. I think I proved that I'm not going to be, I'm no easy fight for anyone. No matter how, well or how bad I performed, I'm always going to be, in your face. I'm going to fight to the very end. And, if you end up surviving in there with me, it's going to be one hell of a fight. We all good? Sweet. Cheers.
Thank you. Hi, congratulations. To your right, over.
Okay.
Dana made a big deal about you coming in basically with no money, with nothing, that you lost your per diem money or you didn't get your per diem money, and staff had to go grocery shopping for you. How difficult was it in the days leading up to this, not knowing if you would be able to get here and compete, and then even when you got here, not knowing how you would pay for your food?
Dana habló mucho de tu historia, aclaró a la gente que tuviste dificultades en términos financieros, o sea, estaba con una cuestión del sueldo que te dan, que no te llegó. O sea, nos gustaría saber cuánto difícil fue para ti, no solo no saber cómo ibas a estar, porque mencionaste que estabas en la cama, que estabas enferma antes de venir acá las últimas 2 semanas, y cuando llegas acá y finalmente alcanzas a llegar, pasa lo que pasó, que no te llegaba la plata, o sea, que tenía que comer, tenía que funcionar. ¿Cómo fue esto, todas esas dificultades en tan poco tiempo?
La verdad que para mí fue como que un impacto, ¿no? Tener tantas cosas así y yo igualito decía, voy a pelear, voy a hacerlo, esa noche es mía, es mi momento, 2024 tengo que brillar y acá lo estoy haciendo por más dificultades que me pusieron, todo. El único que puede hacer eso es Dios. O sea, para mí Dios ha hecho todo, ¿no? Tenía que pasar por todo eso para poder llegar acá y lograrlo.
I know it was really impactful when that happened, but at the same time, I basically said, I'm going to do it. I'm going to do it. It doesn't matter. I'm going to fight. I'm going to make it. I'm going to go out there. I'm going to shine. This night is mine, and I'm going to make it happen. And I think that what I have to thank is God. If whatever needed to happen for me to be here happened, and that's how I believe it happened.
Is it true that when you were in the back before the fight that you didn't hit the mitts and warm up, that you were just visualizing knocking her out?
Es verdad, porque mencionaste en tu entrevista que estabas ahí cuando estabas entrando un poquito, calentándote ahí atrás, visualizaba que la voy a noquear y eso así iba a ser el primer asalto y así va a pasar. ¿Fue ahí que pasó? ¿Lo visualizabas?
Sí, no solamente ahí, sino que dormía y soñaba con eso y pensaba en eso y todos los días lo visualizaba. Y justo en el camerino también decía, la voy a noquear, la voy a noquear, la voy a noquear, la voy a noquear y voy a ganar. Y me levantaba yo misma la mano, sí, voy a ganar, esquina roja, va a ganar. Y siempre lo tuve en mi mente y se hizo.
Yeah, that's exactly what was happening. I was saying, I'm going to do it, not just here, when we were here, but all throughout, I was dreaming, I was visualizing, I was envisioning this happening, that I was going to do it, that I was going to do it that way. And back in, obviously, when we were warming up, the same thing, and I would raise my hand and say, this is what's going to happen. I'm going to come out victorious. This red corner is going to win, and it happened.
Where do you get the confidence? I know your opponents, all 5 of your previous opponents, were in their pro debut, so you fought nobody with any experience before. Where did you get the confidence to believe that you can do this at such a high level, given the fact that you had never fought anybody who had much experience, or any experience?
¿De dónde te viene la confianza para saber que vas a hacer eso que tienes? ¿De dónde te sale eso? Porque tus 5 oponentes, o sea, 5 con quien peleaste, estaban en su debut profesional, si no me engaño. O sea, no peleaste a nadie que tiene experiencia. O sea, que viniste en otro nivel. Necesitas hacer eso acá y tenías la confianza que iba a ser. ¿De dónde viene esto? De la confianza que puedes hacerlo en cualquier nivel, en cualquier momento.
Una de las cosas que me da confianza son mis entrenadores. O sea, ellos siempre vas a ganar, tú vas a ganar, tú vas a ganar. Y eso me lo dan a mí, me lo transmiten. Y por ellos.
I get that from my coaches. They always tell me, listen, you're going to win, you're going to come out victorious. And from them, I get that. That's what I get from them.
Can you tell us a little bit about where you came from, what kind of city you grew up in, and what your family did for a living? Because understanding how poor you were, and Dana said tonight you didn't have a penny to your name when you got here. Give me a little bit about your background and financially how important this fight was for you tonight to win this.
¿Puedes hablar un poco más de tu historia personal, de dónde viniste, de qué ciudad viniste, cómo fue crecer, cómo fue llegar a donde estás? Cosas que sería interesante saber para nosotros, porque Dana mencionó que no tenías nada en el bolsillo, o sea, que venías de poco en tu vida y está acá. O sea, queremos saber de esto y saber lo cuánto significativo es para ti, económicamente en ese caso, entrar en la UFC.
Uy, para mí es como que hacer un nombre, ¿no? Soy creo que la única de mi familia, de toda mi familia, que ha logrado tanto éxito. No solamente por parte de mamá, sino de papá. O sea, mi familia tampoco es que, o sea, tiene una economía, no tan buena. Y ahora que yo estoy acá, como que van a tener a una familia, ¿no? Que es famosa, que lo está haciendo bien, que está haciendo bien las cosas.
I think that financially, this is an opportunity for me to be the first one in my family to have accomplished so much, not just, in our family, but even from my mom's side and my dad's side. I mean, they came from nothing, just very low income. So have this person now that's have gotten something famous, people know, this is very important to be able to do things.
Did you have to live without a lot of like what we would consider necessities in life to get by to chase your dream of being an MMA fighter?
Tuviste que pasar lo que nosotros llamamos de necesidades, o sea, te faltaban cosas para llegar al punto que llegaste, para entrenar, para hacer cosas.
Sí, a veces no tenían implementos para entrenar, me prestaban, así, y muchos me regalaban. Bueno, sí hubo bastantes personas que me apoyaron económicamente, me apoyaban con protectores, canilleras, y bueno, así poco a poco pero mi papá al inicio y mi mamá me apoyaban económicamente para que yo siguiera entrenando. De hecho, yo trabajo desde los 12 años para poder pagarme todo y seguir en el deporte, ¿no? Porque no solamente, o sea, comencé a practicarlo de taekwondo, tenía que comprarme el dobo, el traje, y era carísimo. Y entonces yo trabajé y me lo compraba. Y así todas las cosas, ¿no? Por todos los deportes.
There were people that I didn't have, for example, equipment to train. So people have helped me. People have, given me shin guards, given me protection, given me mats, pads, everything that I needed. And I've had people that have helped me out throughout my career, but also I've been working since I was 12 years old to pay for this. So
Doing what?
¿Qué estabas haciendo? ¿Con qué trabajaste en tu vida?
Comencé a los 12 años trabajando en un lugar atendiendo personas, ¿no?
Sí.
Atención del público. Ahí el señor vendía cloro, desinfectantes, productos de limpieza.
Mm-hmm.
Ahí comencé, luego fui cajera de un club y ahí entré a los 14 años, hasta los 18 trabajé ahí.
¿De cajera de ese club?
Todos los fines de semana, o sea, me perdí fiestas, mi familia me decía que como que ya no quería la familia porque no iba a los cumpleaños, a las fiestas, todas esas cosas, pero yo siempre quise llegar alto, pues yo siempre quise crecer y así pues.
Solo para aclarar, ¿es un club privado o estás hablando de una disco, de un boliche? ¿Estás hablando de un club privado de
no,
esos?
Es un club social familiar donde iban niños, había parques.
Que tienen son miembros y cosas así.
Sí.
So back to just to finish the other answer. When I started Taekwondo, I needed to actually get the uniform, and it was very expensive. And for me to get that, I had to work and pay for it. So I was able to do that throughout my life, always paying for it. So at 12 years old, I started working, just customer service. We're talking about like a store, a gentleman that used to sell like disinfectant and like cleaning products, basically. At 14 years old, I started at this club, which is a private membership, like a family social club. The families hang out with it on the weekends and everything else. And even my family said, I missed out on family functions. I missed out on holidays. I missed out on parties because I was always working. My family said, we lost you. So I did that from 14 to 18. And I worked at this club, and I was able to pay for stuff.
Is it worth it?
¿Te valió la pena?
Valió la pena todo el esfuerzo, todo el sacrificio. De hecho, a los 16 años monté mi primer negocio junto con mi mejor amiga, con Yosiris Rivero. Y ahí comenzó todo, de ahí hice otro negocio y trataba siempre de querer tener, ¿no? Un poco de dinero para poder pagar todo, porque estudiaba, trabajaba, entrenaba, bailaba, o sea, estaba en constante movimiento.
Son muchas cosas que te van a preguntar. I'm sure you're going to ask about this now. So yes, it was all worth it, all the effort, all the sacrifice. Yes, it was all worth it. And now, I even like at about 16, myself and my best friend, we opened up like a new my business, like a little business. So like it's a side business. So like I did that too. So I had to work, I had to train, I danced, so everything. So I'm sure you got questions.
Thank you. Congrats.
Felicitaciones en la victoria aquí, tu izquierda.
Muchas gracias.
Felicitaciones. ¿Cómo se siente poder representar a Venezuela en este momento y qué pueden esperar todas las peleadoras de tu división cuando entres oficialmente en tu debut?
Voy a traducir a la gente. So what do you expect, how do you feel about representing Venezuela, and what do you think that all the other fighters in your division are going to see now?
Me siento muy feliz, no solamente represento Venezuela, también represento al Perú y prácticamente que ahí en el Perú crecí y ahí hice toda mi carrera profesional, ¿no? Y gracias al Perú es que también estoy acá, ¿no? Entonces, a ambos países represento, me siento muy orgullosa, muy afortunada, ¿no? De tener maravillosos países conmigo a mi lado y sé que están ahí la gente de Venezuela apoyándome, la gente de Perú también. Y bueno, acá estamos dando la cara por esos países y por toda Latinoamérica, ¿no?
I'm very proud that I do represent Venezuela, but not only Venezuela. I represent Peru. That's where I've been living. That's where I've been training. I'm very proud of representing these two beautiful countries. They have supported me and have been behind me. And to represent not just those two countries, but also all of Latin America.
¿Crees que tu victoria hoy posiblemente ha inspirado otra generación de muchachos y muchachas en Latinoamérica para empezar un camino en el mundo de artes marciales mixtas?
Do you think that your win might have inspired boys and girls from Latin America, not just from those countries, to say that they can do better things, and perhaps in MMA?
Sí, la verdad que fue una grandiosa pelea y de seguro que sí estoy inspirando a muchas personas anterior de que llegara aquí y me sentara. Ya gente me escribía, ¿no? Diciéndome que gracias a ti estoy entrenando, gracias a ti por apoyarme. O sea, siempre yo le he dicho a todos, ¿no? Que estoy acá para ayudarlos, porque me gusta ayudar a las personas también. Y también agradecidos, ¿no? con mi padre, con mi madre, que siempre están ahí conmigo. Y sé que para mi familia también son una inspiración, porque le estoy demostrando al mundo que los sueños sí se pueden cumplir.
Yeah, there were. I have received messages even like before coming here. People, first of all, it was a great fight. So people, I'm sure surely have inspired, and I felt inspired by people. They've texted me, they've sent messages, and thank you so much for helping me out. Thank you for being out there and supporting me too, because I do like helping people as well. So I do believe that this is a great opportunity for people, and I do also to my parents. I think this is a great source of inspiration to my family, because I like to say that if you work hard, you can make your dream come true.
I just have one for you. I want to know what it feels like to show the boys what it's like. You're the star of the show. Show them how it's done.
Solo tengo una pregunta para ti. ¿Qué es para ti enseñarle a los muchachos que tú hiciste la noche? La noche es tuya. O sea, la chica enseñó a los chicos, acá estamos. Fui la estrella del show.
Sí, estoy muy contenta, ¿no? De poder, o sea, yo lo dije, lo soñé, esta es mi noche, este es mi día y acá está, haciendo historia, una mujer.
Yeah, it was awesome. As I said, like I had dreams about it. I envisioned it all the time. This is my night. This is my dream, and this is my night. It's my moment, and here I am, a woman.
Hay muchas personas que no les gustan las peleas de mujeres porque supuestamente son aburridas y acá está.
Allegedly, there are some people that don't like, women fights and female fights because, in quotes, they're boring. Well, there it is.
Thank you. Thank you.
Gracias, querido.
Muchas gracias.
Austin, how you feeling?
Feeling good, man.
Man, there was a lot of hype on you, the best prospect in America. You went out there and delivered. How did you feel about your performance?
Felt good, game plan coming in was, I've said in my interview before, I said first round I get them tired, and by the second round or early third I'm going to finish them.
Yeah, I mean, that first round you were going balls to the wall. Like, was that the game plan, just go right at him?
Yeah, get him tired, and I felt it, especially at the end of the first round. I heard those deep breaths from him, and going into the second round, I knew I was going to finish him.
How disappointed were you that Tommy pulled out of the fight and Ramos went up and fought you instead?
It is what it is, man. I'm not really thinking about that. It would have been nice to humble him, though, but it's his loss. On 3-day notice, you pull out due to injury. I'm not really buying that.
You were vocal for a long time that you wanted to take your time to get to the UFC. Took a lot of fights. Everybody was expecting you to be in the UFC 2 years ago, but you wanted to take your time. Do you think, obviously it paid off by now, but do you regret that at all, or do you think it was all part of the plan?
I don't regret that one bit. That was all part of the plan. I said it so many times that people come into the UFC at an early, not even age, but like rarely any experience, and you see them get beat up in the UFC. My whole thing was making sure I have enough fights with tough people, which I have, and yeah.
Obviously, a lot of people saw you fight at bantamweight. Now you're at featherweight. Now that you've had 2 featherweight fights under your belt, how do you feel in there?
Feels good. My last 5 cuts to bantamweight was super rough, but here at featherweight, don't get me wrong, it is still pretty hard, but it's a lot more lenient.
When would you like to make your UFC debut?
I like to be active. I like to get 3 to 4 fights a year, so take a little time off, but before the end of the year, for sure, we'll want to make my UFC debut.
And I've asked you before, but a nickname? Are you still putting out your feelers for a nickname? I was thinking, maybe Austin Bashy Smashy or Austin Smashy Bashy. I'm just throwing it out there.
I've heard that one before. I don't know. I just like the original, Austin Bashy.
Congrats.
Thank you.
Austin, Dana said you kind of took your time in order to craft up the performance you did, saying you probably could have finished it earlier. Would you say that's like an accurate description of your performance, and that's how you felt inside there, or was it just, or would you not agree with that?
Well, I like taking my time. I try not rushing, and that's something my coaches always tell me: don't rush, take your time. So, taking my time in there, feeling him out, that was part of it.
And obviously what Alex said, the Tommy fight, that's one a lot of regional fans were excited for this season. Let's say Tommy does get into the UFC. Is that someone you'd like to face in the UFC?
Honestly, it doesn't really matter to me. I don't even want to hear that guy's name. He had an opportunity and he backed out. To me, that's a no name to me.
And obviously in the featherweight division, big fight booked for in October. How do you see the Ilya Topuria Max Holloway fight going?
Expect another crazy fight. Both of those guys always come out and show out, and I got Ilya though in that one.
Last one for me. Obviously, we've seen a lot of prospects come over here on Contender in the UFC. What is something you're looking to do in order to stand out amongst every single prospect that's made their way inside to the UFC?
Yeah, just keep on growing. Like Dana said, I'm very young. I'm only 22, but I have 13 fights now, 13-0, and my last 5 fights were finishes, some TKOs, and some chokes. And I plan on doing the same, getting some more finishes, finishing people on the feet, finishing people on the floor.
Congratulations.
Thank you. Thank you, guys.
drink some water?
Go ahead.
Go ahead.
Do whatever you want.
Oh, thank you.
Congratulations on the big win. How are you feeling tonight?
Thanks so much.
How are you feeling?
I feel better than ever.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So obviously you're a big underdog, like Dana said. So was that a chip on your shoulder you were carrying going into this fight, knowing how many people may perhaps counted you out going into it?
Yeah. Like I said after my fight, I don't give a shit about being underdog. I believe in God. I trust my work. I trust my team. I trust what I do. And I know when we come in the UFC octagon, just put on the work.
And I see you have a little bit of wrap on your arm, elbow area. Are you out for any bit of time, or what they say about that?
Not especially, just my opponent had punched my elbows, so I'm a little bit hurt.
Obviously, what we saw from our area, we could see the Bonfim brothers out in the sidelines cheering you on. So did you get to hear their voice from inside there? I know we heard them loud and clear.
Yeah, for sure. I've heard your voice, and I've seen they too, and they push me. They push me. Was especially being here if here.
For sure. And what does it mean to you to be a UFC fighter officially now?
Man, it's like a dream come true. Actually, I don't believe yet. I'm living on minute by minute, and man, I'm so glad to be here. I wanna buy my mom house. I wanna realize my dreams, and I wanna walk forward to UFC champion.
What are you looking to bring into the 185-pound division? I know there's a Dricus is on a roll right now, but what are you looking to bring into that division, maybe to shake things up?
Bro, I love this division because I'm from Brazil. Anderson Silva was my idol, you know, and I just want to be like Anderson Silva. I love his legacy, and I'm here to make my history.
Did Anderson Silva inspire you to pick up the gloves?
Yeah, he picked up the gloves, but he didn't. He don't fight yet. But I'm come to do something like he, be a massive world champion in this class weight.
Last one. Is there an ideal scenario where you like to debut at a specific place or a specific opponent?
Man, nobody especially. I'm just saying, enjoy my moments, enjoy my contracts, enjoy my brothers, talk to my family. I have no time to do anything, but for sure, I want to fight December.
Congratulations.
Thank you, bro.
Not needed, Fabiano.
I'm useless.
You're good, dude. You're good. You? Good. I'll try my best. Please forgive me. You're a pro, bro. We'll never know.
와우, UFC 파이터.
Well, congratulations. Welcome to the UFC. How are you feeling?
땡큐.
축하드립니다. UFC
예,
들어온 환영하고
예.
기분은 어떠세요?
우선 일단 믿기지가 않고, 근데 또 한편으로 또 이제 시작인 거니까 여기서 안주하는 게 아니라 더 열심히 훈련하고 또 더 좋은 파이터가 될 수 있도록 노력하겠습니다.
I still can't believe it, but it's just the beginning for me. I have a lot to learn, a lot of training to do, and it's a start to a great career.
When you pictured this moment officially being a UFC fighter, is this the way that it played out in your mind, or was it better?
네가 예상한 대로 나왔는지 그리고 뭐 아니면 다른
예, 저희 팀원들과 항상 그 상대를 분석하면서 영상을 보면서 했는데 거의 그대로 나왔던 것 같아요. 그래가지고 연습한 대로 경기 운영을 좀 했던 것 같습니다.
Definitely, my team, with the support of my team, definitely deep dived into my opponent, and based on my training, it felt like it definitely came out the way we thought it would.
You know, your opponent had a really impressive record, but a lot of people couldn't find video of those impressive finishes. What did you do to prepare for him? Were you able to find any video of him, or what did you think of that there wasn't a lot out there on him?
상대 전적이 너무 좋고, 근데 봤을 때는 영상들이 찾기가 되게 어려웠었다.
예.
근데 그거에 또 어떻게 해서 영상을 어떻게 찾았는지 그리고 어떻게 준비를 한 거예요?
영상이 제가 찾았는데 한 3개 MMA 시합이 3개인가 정도밖에 없었고 그라운드 주짓수가 1개 있었습니다. 그래서 없으면 없는 대로 그 안에서 이제 어쨌든 그 움직임 속에 그 선수가 그렇게밖에 안 움직이는 거니까 그냥 그 3개 나온 걸로 영상을 보면서 분석했었습니다.
Definitely, it was what we found probably like 3 MMA matches and then 1 jiu-jitsu match. Just based on that, we just dissected his movements and his body language and just worked around it from there.
What did you think of him overall? Was he not as good as you had expected? Was he tougher in some ways? Were there surprises with him?
경기했을 때 네 예상대로 이게 터프한 선수였나? 아니면 뭐 그런 대로 생각하고 있었는지?
뭐 예상대로 조금 주먹을 이렇게 KO 시키려고 세게 치려고 하는 그런 동작들이 많이 보였습니다. 그래서 그 주먹을 끝까지 보고 제가 스텝으로 왔다 갔다 하면서 흘리면은 상대방이 헛주먹을 휘두르면서 체력도 많이 빠지고 제가 더 유리하게 이끌 수 있는 상황이 나올 거라고 분명히 생각하고 있었습니다.
Yeah, definitely what I expected. It looked like he threw some hard punches, so I definitely used that as an advantage to move around quite a bit and to exhaust him, make him exhaust himself, and then use that advantage to do my techniques and my striking.
When it came time for Dana to explain if he was going to get a contract or not, were you confident you were going to get that contract? Because it must have been difficult. I mean, he's giving this long explanation. Were you sure that you were getting a contract at the end of it?
막판에 데나가 이제 그 설명을 했을 때 좀 긴장이 됐었는지 그리고 내가 계약 받을 생각이 좀
예, 긴장 좀 많이 하고 있었고 왜냐하면은 3라운드 때 그렇게 뭔가 타격으로 완전 퍼펙트한 느낌의 장면을 많이 연출을 못해서 KO나 TKO를 못 시켰기 때문에 조금 조마조마했었습니다.
Yeah, definitely I was nervous in the beginning, and I'm thinking to myself back at how I performed in the 3rd round. I really wanted to show that, but it didn't seem like I was able to because I definitely wanted to get a TKO or a KO out of it. So I was definitely back and forth, like, am I gonna get this contract or not?
And now that you have a contract, now that you're a UFC fighter, what do you envision for your debut? Do you have an opponent in mind, a location you'd like to fight at, or even a date?
지금 이제 계약 받았고 이제 UFC 선수 진적으로 이제 선수가 됐는데
예.
혹시 데뷔할 때
예.
장소는 어디서 하고 싶은지 아니면 다른 상대 누구 생각하고 있는 상대가 있는지?
물론 뭐 아시아에서 하면은 너무 좋긴 하겠지만 이제 갓 들어온 파이터가 어떻게 여기 사고 싶다고 이렇게 하겠냐. 그냥 불러주시는 대로 싸울 거라고 이렇게 전달하면 좋을 것 같습니다.
It'd be wonderful to fight in Asia, but I just got the contract. I'm a UFC fighter now, and I just started. I don't think I have that ability to call out at the moment. I definitely, whenever I get the offer, I'll definitely take it.
Thank you.
There's a show in China in November. Would you like to turn around and fight on that card?
혹시
예.
그 중국 시합이 있는데 거기에서 생각이 있는지.
중국도 뭐 바로 옆이라서 좋고 마카오도 좋고 뭐 아시아면 뭐 다 좋습니다.
It's definitely next door. It'd be great if I get that opportunity. If I get the offer, I'll take it.
And finally, who gave you your nickname, the Korean Tyson?
그 닉네임 코리아 타이슨이라고
예.
어디서 나왔는지.
동현이 형님이 조금 닮았기도 하고 그냥 일단 코리안 타이슨으로 해라라고 하셔가지고 일단은 쓰고 있었습니다. 예.
My head coach Kim Dong-hyun, Stungun, he said, "Hey, you kind of look like him. You know, let's call you the Korea Tyson." That's where it started. 다 끝났어.
예.
사진 하나 찍을래?
예.
Appreciate it.
What a night, huh? That's some fun shit. I love this. Love it. What a great night.
Yeah, it was good. I mean, I was going to start right there, right? I mean, obviously, anytime you give 5 contracts, that's a good indication. But then also, like, 3 big underdogs hit as well. So, overall thoughts? This has to be like one of, I don't know, it felt like one of the more exciting nights we've ever had here.
Yeah. I mean, it's tough to say what night is the most exciting night out of however many seasons we've done it. I think it was last season or the season before, the first episode was brutal. I mean, just fucking terrible. Other than that, I mean, every single fight, every season on this show is off the charts. And it's based on the premise of the show. We don't care what you've done before you came here. What are you going to do tonight? And it's like they always show up and deliver. It's unbelievable.
It's funny because you always talk about how good the matchmaking is, right? And so coming into tonight, we were almost looking at the betting odds, being like, well, was this bad matchmaking? They're these huge, underdogs. So when you see a card like tonight and odds like tonight, do you start thinking, are we in for some lopsided fights, or what's your thoughts?
Well, I mean, if you go through, I'll give you an example. If you take the last fight of the night, right? You got this kid Igor who was almost a 5-1 favorite, but I'm not trying to shit on anybody. I don't even know what the IFL is, right? But he's fighting. He's a big fish in a small pond, and you've destroyed everybody. You're undefeated. You're 9-0. You have a 100% first round finish rate, 100% in the first round, right? And 7 wins in under 1 minute 20 or less. So then you come in here and you get lined up with this crafty Korean dude who has great head movement and awesome counter punching and wants it just as bad, or we saw tonight, worse than you do. And tonight, as I watched that fight play out, I saw Igor start to think, maybe this isn't for me. Maybe this isn't what I want to do for the rest of my life. That's what it looked like to me. You didn't prepare right, or, never did he start trying to get out from underneath it. He didn't try to walk up the cage and get up and have the desperation of, I need to finish this fight to win this fight. None of that happened. So you just lay there and let, your opportunity go by. Or you come out like some of these underdogs, right? How fucking dare you make me a 13-1 underdog? How dare you make me a 4-1 underdog? And that's how you fight.
Talking about Eunice, I mean, you gave her the contract before she even got out of the cage. You brought her back there first. But, I mean, you're talking about an upset of the year. You're talking about a knockout of the year.
The biggest upset in the history of the Contender Series, you know what I mean? Mick was telling us that he was going through his text chain with her and her people. She almost didn't come. She has no money. She doesn't have $1 to her name right now. And people were, she gets per diem. What happened to her per diem? Her per diem got messed up and all this stuff. So the staff had to go grocery shopping for her. And then she comes in and does that. I mean, fucking, let me tell you what, she ain't broke now.
Well, it's funny, right? Because you straight up said, like, I don't even know what else you can do. I don't know if you can grapple. I don't know if you can defend a takedown.
I don't know what you can do, but we're going to let you in and try it, whatever you can do. I mean, you don't see women knock women out like that. And the girl she fought was a 13-1 favorite. The girl's a beast, a specimen. She came out and just started letting her hands fly. She knocked her out in a minute 13, but after that first big exchange they had where she was hitting her with the shots, and then there was sort of a lull and they were staring at each other, she already had a hematoma above her eye. And, I mean, damn. It was just, if you can't tell, I got kind of caught up in that whole moment. But the whole place did. I mean, very, very rare that the entire place erupts here for the Contender like it did tonight. I mean, that was incredible. That was special, what we saw tonight. That was fun.
I think that stole the show for the whole night for sure. But it was funny because the first fight of the night, you're going into the cage. You don't do that a whole lot, right?
Yeah, well, that was the other thing. Both of those kids were 24 years old. And, you know, my thing was, however the judges score this fight, however this plays out, both of you have a bright future in this sport. Both durable, tough guys, well-rounded, no matter where the fight went. Head kicks, eating nasty head kicks, the body shots that both of those two took, the punches. I mean, when they hit each other with some of those right hands, it sounded like heavyweights. It reminded me of the night that Francis and Stipe fought in here, when Francis and Stipe were hitting each other that night. And you were just like, God damn, right? Those two were throwing those kind of punches at each other. It was a great fight.
So I don't know that we've seen you this excited about a night in a long time. So I guess what's the overall message? Because there's still quite a bit of season left, right? So what would you tell the rest of the competitors that they can do?
If you don't know by now, I don't know what to tell you. I mean, like I say, this is your opportunity. After the girls' knockout, we were trending number 2 in the United States, and you know. I don't even have to know, but I know that's going to be top 10 tonight on ESPN's top 10. You know what I mean? Nobody knows you on Tuesday morning. Everybody can know you Wednesday morning. You know what I mean? This is your shot and your opportunity to come in and show me, but show the whole world who you are. And it doesn't matter what the odds are. That's been proven a million times. It's about who you are. Who are you? Show us right here tonight.
Well done. All right, listen, we got a great fight card this weekend. I don't want to look past that, but the Sphere is coming very, very close. I just want to get an update on that. Where do you stand in terms of preparation? And, I mean, that's obviously a huge event. How much is left to do between now and next week?
It's all the work is done. Now it's about rehearse, 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 rehearse. And there's limited times that we can get. We're getting in there at like 1 till 7 in the morning because of their schedule. But it's all about rehearsing now, and to try to explain to you how complex this show is and how many moving pieces and parts there are to pulling this thing off. It's all about all the bells and whistles are done. Now it's about execution.
You know, you made big promises, obviously, what this show is going to be. How confident are you going to be able to deliver on those promises with this being the greatest sporting event of all time?
I'm extremely confident. You know, I've sat in there and I've looked at the stuff already, and so I don't know if I told you guys this last time I talked to you, but we walked into the Sphere, and, you know, I ain't going to lie, you know, there's a lot of pressure on me, and I'm thinking about all these different things that, how's this? Is this right? We sat down, and they made a mistake when they started doing the rehearsal, and they played me like one of the middle pieces of the show. I literally looked at Craig Borsari and said, yeah, you know, fuck it. You're going to have to show me anything else. I can get up and go right now. I'm good. It's badass. It's badass. It's going to be awesome. Just about execution now.
Last thing I have for you, I don't know how long we need to talk about it, but couldn't help but notice a John Jones promo that ran tonight. What? Yeah, it had a lot of things calling him the GOAT, talking about his accomplishments.
Oh, yeah.
Now, was that something you've been planning for a long time that just happened to roll out this week, or was that a direct response to anything that happened here last week?
I was in the back. I didn't even see it air. I didn't even know they aired that
There was a lot of stats about him, who he's beaten. I don't know.
Did you guys read them?
There was a lot of stuff.
Did you guys read the stats?
It didn't talk a lot about the guys recently that he's beat. It talked about his whole career.
Right. Still, well, you recently just beat the number 1 heavyweight in the world. Yeah. Hope you guys read that stat. You know what is fucking great about technology? We're not far away from AI actually doing these rankings, and it'll be a great fucking day when AI starts doing this shit. So I'm really excited about that.
Dana, you're a gambling man. Do you think that the Contender Series, you should probably just not bother with parlays and maybe just look at the fights individually? Because I feel like anytime you run a parlay on this show, it gets ruined by something.
Well, anytime you have a parlay in any sport, I mean, parlays are dangerous. That's why everybody does them. Everybody does them because the reward is so good you can't help yourself.
Not if you bet on all the favorites tonight. You got like $3 for like a $10 bet. And then the favorites lost anyway.
Well, that's the way it goes, too. If you bet favorites. Anyway, if you do parlays, if you bet favorites, I mean, yeah, if you bet the big favorites and everything, but you can still, like tonight. I mean, same thing. Sports betting is fucking brutal. I don't do it. I stopped doing it a long time ago. It drives me crazy. Yeah, but it's more fun if you bet. No, it's not more fun. It actually makes the game miserable. But yeah, if you like sports betting, this is one that actually where underdogs really do win.
You talk about wanting to see, we speak about guys coming out and showing you what they're about, even if they're the underdog. Do you then look on the flip side, right? You maybe had Igor, perhaps Will. They come out and they seem much more tentative. Do you think that's because the moment's getting to them, or do you think you need to come in here with a different strategy? If that's your usual fighting style, you need to come out here and be aggressive from the opening bell.
Yeah, listen, if you're undefeated 9-0 and have seven finishes in under a minute 20 of the first round and 100% finish rate in the first round, that's exactly how you should fight.
Yeah. Going back to the Sphere, you said it cost $20 million, right? Can you tell me, is it going to be like, let's say you did it again, it's another $20 million, or because you're the first people that are doing this, that's why it's so high, and if you were ever to do it again, you could get those costs down a little bit?
Yeah, no, I don't think you can. I think that, obviously the technology of the Sphere is all new, so you have to shoot in a different format than you normally do, and the thing is with us is we don't cut corners. We don't cut corners. We do everything the right way. So if you think about that, our production value is usually here, right, compared to even HBO boxing, which they were the gold standard, but the only thing they did differently in 30 years was HD. It was all the same shit, right? I would take us from here to the ceiling on what we're doing to the Sphere. I told you guys before, I believe that this is a game changer. This is where sports and entertainment truly come together. And I think what you'll start to see is some of these arenas start to change the way they're, a lot of these places are being built right now, new arenas. A lot of them are being refurbished and redone because they're old. I think you'll start to see them start to add better technology to the arenas where you go to the Lakers game and you got a guy juggling and, the mascots dunking balls at halftime and stuff like that. I think you'll start to see more entertainment-based stuff happening at halftime.
Is there stuff you guys can take from the Sphere that you can then use?
Oh, we will. We already have. I mean, some of the cameras and some of the technology we're using for this, we will absolutely spill over into the events moving forward.
Great. Last one from me. Your partner, Turki Al-Sheikh, said today that he wants to make boxing pay-per-views like $20. He thinks that's a good way to combat piracy. I'm not asking you to change your pay-per-view price, but as someone who knows the numbers, is that a valid way to combat piracy, or do you think you need to focus on punishing after the fact?
Trust me, we know exactly how to combat piracy. I won't tell you extensively what we do every event, but we go after piracy hard, and you saw a few years ago we started prosecuting people. That's how you combat piracy. Start fucking prosecuting people for stealing. There you go.
Dana, to your right.
Yep.
How many people on the roster now? Like, you've given 13 out of 15 winners contracts this week. It seems like your roster, are you at 700 now?
What's the number, What? Under 700.
Is that a workable number for you to get, or is there going to be some pairing going on at the bottom of the roster?
Yeah, I think that, every time you get into a cycle, there's cuts that you have to make. You have to make a certain amount of cuts at a certain point in time. But the reason we can pull off a lot of the things that we do is because we have such a deep roster. This year we had Ige come off the couch and basically come from home, watching the pay-per-view at home to come fight. When you have a deep roster, you can do stuff like that. You can pull fights out 4 days, 5 days before, and.
I was thinking tonight when you were doing this, is it about strengthening the bottom of the roster and then seeing where they go, or is it just looking and saying, I want to see guys that can be top 10, top 5, potentially champions? Is there one way that you look at it more than the other?
My goal every day when I go to work is I want to find the absolute best fighters in the world. I want to put on the best production that we can in-house and on live television every Saturday that we possibly can. And to do that, you need shows like the Contender Series, and you need to find these people, bring them in, and give them the opportunity.
When you look at Dubin and what she did tonight, I mean, what do you see in her growth-wise? She fought, I guess, 5 people, all of whom made their pro debut.
Yeah.
And so there's basically nothing really to go on looking at her past performance because she hadn't fought anybody.
Here's what I'm going on. I'm going on the fact that she was a 13-1 dog tonight, the adversity that she had to go through to even get here, the fact that she came out against a girl that she was not supposed to beat, who is an absolute physical Who here thought she was going to win this fight tonight? I mean, raise your hand so I can call you a liar in front of the whole world. She comes out tonight and it doesn't surprise me. And one of the nastiest knockouts. Forget about the Contender Series. You'll see in women's fighting. I mean, and it was with a punch, not a head kick or a knee. She's going to get an opportunity. What she does with it, we will find out. You know, hopefully she takes all the money that she made tonight and she goes back. She gets into a real training camp and gets with a real team. And she tries to go do something with her life.
Did you give her extra bonus tonight? Because
yes.
Of what she, okay.
Yes.
Also wanted to ask you, did you see Alex Pereira's tweet today or Instagram post today?
I didn't, but Lene told me about it.
Yeah. So what's your take on that? So because I wrote a thing and I basically said if he goes to middleweight, forget about him ever fighting at heavyweight, right? What is your take on his? He seems to have this kind of unusual interest in middleweight for whatever reason. There's a lot of contenders. He hasn't fought Ankalaev yet. I know Ankalaev has a fight, but
I disagree. My take on him is he's fucking nasty. That's my take on him. He wants to move up. He wants to move down. He wants to go That's why people love him. Those are the type of fighters that people love. You know, Pereira wants to fight everybody. I love it.
So what do you do with a guy like that when you have a guy like that? And Dricus, hey, look at the run Dricus is on, right?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, he's kicked ass and, 1, 2, and 3. I think he's beat in the rankings and everything. So you promised a fight to Strickland. If Dricus comes out of that, would you grant Alex's wish, assuming he beats Khalil?
I don't know. The thing that's great about it is, first of all, I said a minute ago, it's why everybody loves him and he's great. But it also gives us a ton of options that, as we're in matchmaking, should we do this? Should we do that? Shouldn't we do this? Shouldn't we do that? I don't know. It's a good problem to have with a guy like him.
And,
how about he's on vacation in Australia and accepts the last-minute fight? I mean, just everything about Alex Pereira is what makes fans absolutely love the guy.
He is 37 years old. That's, the one, when you look at the one negative in terms of if he goes down, and the reason I call it a negative is this. If you want to see him try to make history and win a heavyweight title and become the first UFC champion to do it in 3 divisions, you're talking at least another year, right?
Mm-hmm.
And at that point, he's past 38, heading to 39. Time becomes an issue there. So do you ever have a conversation with him and sit down and try to, kind of map out a little bit, say, because that would be so unusual, Dana, to win a title in 3 weight classes.
Right.
And he's a big man, and you put on 10 or 15 pounds of muscle, and he's 245 just like Jones.
Yeah. No, listen, all these guys are battling time. They all battle time. We're just going to have to see, what happens over the next couple of months. There's a lot of fights happening in these weight classes. And, first Stipe and Jones needs to happen, and then we figure out where we go there. Aspinall is obviously the next guy that should get the next title shot. And we'll see how this all plays out. But they're all battling time, every one of them. Good?
One from me.
Yep.
Last week, we were talking about working together with Riyadh Season, in the US, but you kind of didn't want to share the sort of things you might be working on. Can I have one guess? And if I'm close, you say yes.
No, but go ahead.
Is it anything to do with TKO boxing? Because Turki Al-Alashik wants to create a league, which I've heard he wants to implement in early 2025.
Do I think that what? I need help, Lene.
Is Turki Al-Alashik wants to create a league in boxing that he wants to apparently launch early 2025. Is that something TKO boxing could help with?
Huh. Anything is possible. Anything is possible. Who knows? Have a great night.
Dennis?